In this upload, I'm going to be sifting along these banks. These banks are 15 foot high. They're all grown up now and they're like dirt. The stuff's falling down and laying right in here. I give some tips on hunting, what I'm trying to do here, the end goal, and I find some pretty nice artifacts again. Hope you enjoy. There'll be 2 more videos up at the end of recent hunts. I'm on a roll. Thanks for watching. Well, what I'm doing here now, they raised the water just enough to screw it up, but I'm along a log here like I talked about in my last video, and I'm scooping. There's a nice layer in here. I'm filling my screen here. I'll show you what this looks like. I can feel the gravel and stuff down in there. See it? I'm filling this up, and when I start sifting it down, I'll show you what it looks like. See this? See that red piece of jasper right there? This is my shovel. Look at the fired rock going in from it right in here. I should find a point. This looks good. What I'm doing here is with the big dams in the river, these shores are like the shores of a lake. There's not a free-flowing current in it. When you get in certain places on the turn, there can be some current, but not like in the Musk Kingdom River. That's not, you know, you get a wash out there. It's like a creek, and in most rivers it is. It's not like that here. What I'm doing is sampling these layers of the stuff that's falling out like on the shore, and I'm looking for concentrations of flakes and fired rock and arrowheads and artifacts. And I'm going along the shore and I'm looking for spots that are loaded that I can stay in one area for 5 or 6 days and make videos till I'm not finding nothing, and then move and find a place like that. Later. This is kind of a test screen, and there's a tire right there. You can't see it. It's right in there, and it's holding stuff in here. It was way further out in the river, and I moved it up here so I could dig around it. Look at this. Man, a lot of fired rock. There's a nutting stone right there. Look at the little hole in it. Almost every piece of sandstone's one. I'll have to flake these leaves and stuff off. See, there's flakes already. There's multiples. Look at that. I'll get back if I see any nice artifacts. Show you what I'm doing later. See, that's the end that's been laying down in that decaying stuff. Now you turn this rock over. That was up on the surface on the bottom. Now look at that. That ain't disc damage. That's from sharpening stuff, and this is all smooth. There's some more scratching. I'm gonna take that. You don't find stuff like this in cornfields and only in washouts like this, because this would be exploded, and that's a nice little ancient, like a braiding type sharpening stone. Nice. Yeah, there's a flake back here in that corner too. There's a flake right there, green. But look up here. Here's a little tool. This ain't nothing spectacular. See, it's a little knife. See it? It's got some decent, that's just an average thing, but right there's the cortex of the river cobble. You can see how this stuff's made out of these little river cobbles. It's kind of cool. Later. There's another knife right there. See it? I'll just grab this out here. This is just average. See it? It's almost like a corb. There you go. Later. Oh, this sucks. Look at this. It's still cool to find this. You know what that is, don't you? That's a big roller pestle. It's all packed. Oh, that would have been nice. That would have been it. That would have probably been 14 inches long and tapered on both ends like a rolling pin. Ah, that would have been a good find. See, look at this. This is not much. This is just sand off the beach. Right there's a finishing flake. Right there's a finishing flake. Right there's 2. Right here's 1. Right here's a bigger chunk. Right here's 1, and there's more. Believe me. All of this just right here by eye, off 6 or 7 shovelfuls of sand below a high beach. You'll see the evidence. These are pressure flakes and little flakes from the manufacturer of multiple ancient artifacts. I ain't BSing you when I say I move these logs around. Here's a huge one. It's probably a pond. I'm pulling this one out because it's no good. Pond's real light, rots quick, and it'll float away. So you get that one up off the bank. Starting to get in pretty good layers. I feel confident I'll find something nice eventually. Right there's a pretty nice knife. Look at that black one. Alright, here's some of the stuff I found so far. That's pretty nice. Look at that green, like that's a flake knife. But I finally got a point. Pottery. I'll get back. I'm away from my kayak down here. I'm in a good layer and I got an edema. It's kind of crude, but it's kind of nice, and I like it, so I'll get back down. I got it right up in this little cave. There's fire rock and stuff. I saw it flash. It's under. Might as well just. Right there's another little flake too. It's a crude point, but it's a point. It's gonna start thunderstorming. Say, hell, there's another flake. See, I might find something else. Right here. See the stem on it. It's just a crude Adena point. Right there. Yeah, this is just like a field grade thing. It's like, might even be some kind of tool. But it looks at Adena like some kind of woodland thing. See, it might even be a tool. Kind of cool. Yeah, that stinks. This fire popped apart. That point's going to be way lighter. It's all stained up, but that would have been nice. Man. Oh. Getting crushed on broken nice stuff today. Look at this Madison. Oh, it's just a masterpiece. As thin as a quarter, busted. Look at the chipping on that thing. See, close up of this Madison point here, man, that's a shame. Broke right there. Look how thin in cross section. It's nice looking material. Look at the chipping. That's a shame, but I get a good one. Later. Alright, I came here yesterday and looked all around where I found that little dovetail, big sandy looking point. It's something in that real early cluster. Been trying to find stuff around it. Found a triangle over here, but I'm back in there where I found that point, and I got something I think it's associated with it. You see it? It's a knife. Man, it's nice. And it looks like something from that time period. It's right here. Look at this, to go with that point. Look at that edge work on this. Real nice material too. It looks like maybe Upper Mercer or a river cobble that mimics it. Look at that. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice indeed. To go with that point, I'll put it right in the frame beside. Well, here's the little point I found right around this scraper I'm about to show you that I sifted in the last clip. That's like dovetail looking. You can watch it in my last video. Now let me set that up here, and now let's look at this little tool. I'll put this right in the frame with that. Look at that. It looks like Upper Mercer. It's real nice material. Look at, that's like almost like a shaft scraper. There, look at that. And then all this real beautiful edge work up the side of that. And look, it's like it's flipped over and worked there. That's really a nice tool to go in that frame, and I'd say it's related. The material's both good on it, and that's gonna look nice with that. I'll show you. It's too bad this ain't whole. I'm where I found that button. There's a trade pipe. Stink. But the bowls are fragile. Probably date that. I don't know a lot about these either, but I think they're awesome. That'll go in a frame. I like it. I'll keep the Pono bottle pieces and see what I can metal detect here. It'll make a nice frame of stuff. That's cool nonetheless. Well, here's this little pipe stem. You can see right there's where it was smoked through. This is, it would have went directly into like a big fat bulbous bowl right there, and it's busted off. I'd say this is at newest 1860. That's cool. Later. I don't know what that said, but I found this piece of old glass in there by that trade pipe. I thought I'd show you. That might be a piece of a historical whiskey flask or something. I don't know. There's lots of good stuff there that time period. New points, and it's gonna rain, and I just got that knife, and oh, I got a good one. You see it down there in the corner? Oh yeah, hold on. I'm digging by these logs. Oh, my back's killing me. That's why I was hoping to find a nice one. I don't know if this is a Brewerton or a fish spear. There's older stuff here. See, this is an archaic atto thin dart point with a needle tip. Yeah, this is, oh yeah, it's beautiful material. Oh my goodness, this is nice. That's a fish spear. That's another one. I got one off this stretch down that way, and then that one across the river. There's a fish spear site here, and it's a mirror site. I can find them on the opposite side of the river and here. This is the third one. And man, The first one's the nicest, but this is the second. This is almost a tie. Look at that tip. Lay that. Well, here's this little fish spear. Heavily ground bases and notches. See, nice medial reds, just perfect condition. It's nice. And on the one side, see the basal thinning to facilitate hafting. That's a little, it would have went on a little spear and it would have been thin with an addle. I'll show you two more I found right in there. Just hold on. Alright, here's more of them. I found this one just recently in the last week. Just like, I don't know, 15 yards to the south. Right on that same shore. And this one directly across the river from this one. So I'm right on a river crossing site that has fish spear type arrowheads. And right here they are in the book. And, you know, I'd say an estimate 6,000 years old. So early to middle Archaic, 9,000 to 4,000 years BP is before present. So these could be up to 9,000 years old, these addle darts. And here's some more of them in the book. You know, the ones I found are nicer made than the ones in the book. This point's a beauty. Today, look at that material. And this thing's translucent. Wow, and even this little one I found the other day is real nice. Look at it. Well, hope you're enjoying. Got 3 there now. Off that site to go together. A nice little grouping, that cluster of points in this age of time. That's awesome. Talk about a few things here. You've got this is time. Let's say this is the early Archaic period here. And it ends here, and it's into woodland, and then Mississippi and down here, and up here you got Paleo. If this is the Archaic period, and this is the Paleo period, that point I found in my last video, that notch I called a dovetail, that's in a cluster of points in the early Archaic here, right on the bordering of Paleo. And it's in a cluster of points with like Lost Lake, Thebes, all the Archaic bevels. And then there's all these variations of the dovetail. I'm not sure if that's a St. Charles or not. That's just my best guess at this point. What I'm going to have to do is keep going back to that site, and I'm going back later, and over the next like year, I'm going to have to get a cross section of points and see what fits into this period. And there'll most likely be more stuff related to this, broken pieces and stuff, and we'll get an idea of what that point is in my last video. And I'll do that today. Whatever I find, we'll have to, if it's a different period, let's say I find an Adena in there where I'm sifting, I found that old point, and I very well could be, because the banks are high and there's lots of time being eroded out of them. What I'm doing, if I find the Adena, I got to figure out if it's like a crest of Adena or like a beaver tail Adena, or maybe if it might even be some kind of Archaic stem point. You won't know till you dig there and find like 20 pieces that you think might relate to that point. It's kind of like an ancient jigsaw puzzle. You're finding artifacts, but I'm trying to put them into context in time, in culture, in these little slivers of time where that culture occupied that time. I hope that explains what I'm doing on the river a little bit better. Later. See this right here? There's a 15, 20 foot high cut bank. It's all grown up. You can see it. It's just like dirt. Now look at this slope. The base clay's right up in there. And it's slick. See how the rock slides down the base clay? You can see it right here. See it all in here? There ain't much up here. See how this is base clay? See how this stuff's just sliding down it? It's fanning it out. I'll find the nicest points up here at the base of the banks on places like this. Right up in here. This is where they'll be laying out the nice ones. See, that looks like a core. Throw that out in the water, it's no good. But up in here's where the points are. And you see, it gets down to where it tapers out, and that's where all the stuff's laying. See it? These are probably anvils right out of the center of a big, like, community stones in the middle where they were camping and cooking all this stuff is. Look at it. It's all out of that bank. And that's up off the river to where it's sediments. There's really no rock in that unless it's carried in, and all this is stuff. Look at this, out of this bank. And I found beautiful arrowheads right here. You can see why. But once it gets down here in this rock, a delicate point, the wave action hits it and busts them up. So most of the points down here busted up. You're not going to find nothing nice, but you are after high waters. Up in here, this is where they'll be laying. Up in here on this slant, see there's a little flake here. This is where, you know, if I'm going to find something nice over here, this is where it's going to be. Up in here. See, look at this up in here now. Start getting in the glass out of the bank. There's a dump here someplace, but this stuff didn't look that great. Wanted to explain that later. Alright, this is scaled down. And, you know I'm in my last video I used a big log. But these logs are all laying in the water. And you can get a stick about this big and use it as a prying mechanism off the bank and just pry it and move it. Or if the stick breaks, which will happen on a big log, bring a spud bar and you can move real heavy objects when they're laying in water. And what you want, most logs that come in, wash into the bank, are laying like this. And if you're sifted on the backside of a log like this, you got to keep reaching over, and it's not as good. You want the log positioned at like 1 or 2 o'clock or 10 or 11 o'clock, so it accumulates the stuff on it and spreads it out in a thin layer. It just doesn't back it all up in one place. Then you can run down this and have a pathway to pull your sifter right to the water, and it works much better. And I'll lay tires in, like up here if they're on the bank, or another log. See, there's like a funnel here. That's what I'm trying to get going on the river. See this log here? Right there's my throwouts. I positioned this log in here a while ago, but it moved. I had it at a way more angle. I had it going up into here at about 230, and it was really catching the stuff here, but the water's down now. I can't move it back today. But it's catching stuff in here. I'm gonna dig along. Right, I'm not sifting yet, but I hope these tips help. I'm just surface hunting, so as always I'm finding flakes. Look at that stuff right there, real beautiful. But I hope that helps, and up at the end I'll put a link on me digging along a log like that, and you can see the size of them. But they're pretty easy to move. You know, a parallel log laying like out here in this much water, it's not hard to get it up in an angle, so it kind of funnels this stuff and spreads it out. What you want, it's all spread out so it's not in a big pile of rock. You know what I mean. So you're working that thin layer like 8 inches thick, like along this. You're coming down and working it after you get that log in place, and it usually gets pretty concentrated. And you see, I always find points with the sifter. Well, I always say I'm done with this frame. I just found that nice Amos point right there, but look, right there's them 3 fish spears. Now look at the frame as a whole. There's paleo stuff in there, early archaic, Madison points, drills. This is worth some money. Nice Kirk. I dug that up there on that stretch of shoreline I was at in this video. I've got some nice stuff up there, some old stuff. That lance come from up on that shoreline too. That's an Upper Mercer late paleo lancelet. Well, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm out here with my pet squirrel. The squirrel man. Here, get up here. Look at him. I'll go back there tomorrow maybe where I found that fish spear. Look at this, folks. He ain't liking it. I'll put him down. But I'll go back and we'll see what else is in there. Look at this maniac down here. Look at this good boy, folks. All right, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe.